What's up, guys? Welcome back to What's Next Birmingham. Today we've got an interesting guest, Alex Dickey. And Alex, we connected actually in our finance class last semester.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, did y'all?
It was so
Cool,
wild.
cool.
We were sitting next to each other, and I think it was a speaker that came in. He asked, who were the people that are like involved in other businesses and doing things on their own?
Oh.
And then myself, Alex, and then
Luke. Yeah.
we're all sitting right next to each other. We all raise our hands.
And y'all didn't know before.
Well, so I knew Luke. Luke and I,
yeah,
we
yeah.
were good buddies, but we didn't know Dylan.
Right.
Mhm.
And so it was just like, we all raised our hand. We're like, wait, whoa, you too?
Yeah, it was like that
That's funny.
Spider-Man movie where it's
Yeah.
pointing at you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of like that initial meeting. But when I started learning about DormVault and what you guys are doing, I mean, it's fascinating. So tell me, I kind of understand you were coming into college, you're experiencing these hardships of this transition time. What was like one of those first moves that you made? Was it like when you come in on your freshman year, you're like, okay, I've got this idea? Or was it after seeing multiple repetitions? And then what was that first move that you made to say, I can make this a difference, I can make a difference in this community?
Well, I mean, I'll say first, I think we all are seeing issues every single day. The question is, can you create a solution that is worth creating? Because there are some solutions that are just like, it's not even worth your time. Yeah, you can make enough money, but you'll break even maybe.
Right.
And so like, I've seen this issue, like, and I think everyone knows it. Moving out is a horrible weekend. It's like stressful, and you just literally have to do the strenuous labor. It's like, I do not want to do that.
Yeah.
But then it was like, through that entrepreneurial program I went to, it was like, I can actually capitalize on this. Like, this is profitable.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of when the passion to actually solve the issue, but then the financial side of it, it has to make sense.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So what, like when you're initially building out kind of like that sort of plan, that rough sort of business plan, and saying, okay, what are those solutions? Like the climate controlled storage unit.
Yeah.
The like, how did those pieces come together?
So that's an interesting question. That gets into the partnership.
Yeah.
So before that, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
It was just like, I'm going to be as scrappy as possible. I don't know.
And were you doing this yourself, or you hired some guys?
We hadn't done the storage yet. And so it was just like, we're going to rent a U-Haul storage facility. Like, we're just going to go make it happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be ugly, but it's going to work.
Yeah.
But then partnering with Collegiate Bedloft Company has been so good, because now we get their storage facility, climate controlled.
Right.
It's all in one place. Like, we were ready to drive across Birmingham to different storage facilities, but then different units inside those facilities.
Oh, wow.
We were ready to make it happen.
Yeah.
But thankfully, the partnership has relieved some of that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, Dylan had mentioned that you're partnered, and I'd love to hear more about how that happened. But I'm immediately thinking, I'm sure there's a lot of different logistical kind of challenges that go into this. What are some challenges that you like encountered when starting up? Because I'm thinking in my head immediately, okay, let's say you have like 5 customers, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna store these 5 people's stuff. You almost need to be like, okay, how do you like section each of those things so you don't get anything confused? Do you do a different unit for each one? Like what was kind of your process?
Yeah, so we have storage racks, like pallet racks inside the facility. And thankfully it's like 3 stories high. So like everything is in this one place. That's where it's all gonna be. And from there, we're just gonna do like a tag label system, so we can track things, and it'll say like item 3 of 7 or whatever, and so we know we have all 7 items. But like, that's our biggest concern, is like, we cannot be losing things for our customers. Like, that is literally our business.
Yeah.
And so that's
Not good
something
looks.
we're trying to logistically make work.
So I also want to ask, like, when you're like initially when you were conceptualizing this plan, were you looking at other people, like other businesses, and saying, how can I take a piece here? How can I take a piece there?
100%.
Yeah.
Any business you're doing, you should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't be arrogant enough to think that you're going to create the perfect business model.
Yeah.
Learn from other people's mistakes. My grandpa used to say that. He would say, a wise man learns from his mistakes, but a wiser man learns from others.
Right.
So it's like, you look at these 3 or 4 other competitors, and that's something I had to like deal with in my head. It's like, I feel like I'm copying in this sense, this part of their business. No, it's just like, it's not patented, so you're not stealing anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like take what works
Yeah.
and then implement all the good things.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're doing that, you're implementing the good things. What were some of those first immediate things that you got rid of? Like that you were like, this is something that is a challenge that would be too hard for me to like accomplish with this model. What were some of those immediate things where you were like, we don't need that, we don't need this, we don't need this?
I would say something that we haven't even seen our competitors do. A lot of them, or actually all of them that I've seen, are doing cardboard boxes. So they provide cardboard and then the packing tape. We're going a complete different route. We're paying more because we are doing plastic storage totes. But with that, they're
like
more,
the IKEA type.
No, like a literal actual like plastic bin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's more sustainable and it protects the items better than cardboard. That is what we're trying to market. On the business side of things. You basically are paying 3 or 4 times more than the cardboard, so it's a larger expense.
Wow.
But it's going to last 5 or 6 years instead of buying cardboard for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So in the end, it's going to be cheaper. And so it's like over time, if it's going to be cheaper and it looks better and it's more sustainable for our customers, and then it's a competitive advantage. None of our competition does it.
Yeah.
Clear choice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm interested in kind of your process of like how do people like pay, or how do people for like the length, right? So if I wanted to go and use your service, and let's say every semester I'm like going home or I need to move out, so it's gonna be like 2 times a year I'm gonna be needing you, man.
Yeah.
So like how does the contract work? Is it gonna be I need to re-up every time to come to you and be like, hey, I need you to hold this for this time, or is it like a contract for a year, or like how does that work?
So the coolest thing, we do a $50 reservation deposit. We're taking those right now, and then once we get that money, it gets you on the list.
Okay.
And so then you select an estimated inventory, and so it's not locking you into anything, but it lets us know likely what you're going to store with us.
Okay.
And so then in May, when we show up to pick up their things, basically we're like, hey, what do you have? You know? And then we create the invoice from there. And so from the reservation deposit, like right now, like February, they can add things or even take off things. And so it gives them that flexibility.
That's nice.
But it's a 4-month storage contract.
4 month. Okay.
And so it's from May or sometimes April, depending on when the semester ends, until August.
Okay.
And we do have the odd jobs. So like, hey, I'm going home this Christmas break. Can you help me?
Right.
So we have like a random like moving package. And so that's basically just move from the room to the car or vice versa.
Okay.
We do sell that too.
Gotcha.
And you said, so it's based on almost like quantity of items that they have, right? So you're like, oh, I'm going to need more space for your 3 couches. You need to pay more than the other guy, right?
Well, so that's interesting because I thought that this business needed to be a bundled. And so like small, medium, large in that sense.
Right. Okay.
But I got customer feedback after last August, and they were like, I feel like I'm not getting the full value. Let me just pay per item. So we've unbundled everything.
I see.
So it's all price per item, but we do have that 1% of customers that are like, just give me the big thing. I don't care. And so we have that one major package where it's like unlimited, whatever you want to store.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that might be, that's a risk at some point because you buy that and it's like, okay, I literally have so much stuff that I'm losing money on it. But I feel like you probably have it set to majority of the time, like you're safe in that way.
We have safeguards to like prevent against that because that's a huge concern.
Right.
It's like we can't be losing money on this.
No. And so have you had any like just thinking, have you had any clients or any contracts that maybe went south or things, maybe an item did go missing for a time? Or
no, we have not.
Awesome.
And the management has done very well in making sure that doesn't happen. And so it's all about risk though. It's like we're trying to avoid that risk in doing that.
But things happen then.
Things do happen.
Yeah.
And so we do have insurance for our customers.
Oh,
and so
cool,
that adds
cool.
an extra layer of security.
That's awesome.
Extra peace of mind for them too.
Awesome. So would they have to like pay for that, I guess?
No, it's included.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is it up to like a certain amount? They're like, oh,
Yeah,
my items are insured
Like a
for
guarantee.
$100 per item. And that's what a lot of the competition does.
Okay.
So that's something that I got from competitors. It's like they self-insure $100 per item.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that Storage Scholars?
Storage Scholars is one, but there's a few others. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So I want to ask, like, I think you've done a really good job of explaining like what this business is
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
of that. And it's a fascinating model. But I want to ask some more questions about like you personally as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What are some like initially? So, yeah, let's start initially. Like you were a solopreneur. Is this your first business?
First
endeavor?
legal LLC.
Yeah,
Legal
okay.
LLC. That's a
Cool,
common
cool.
trend here.
That is a
Yeah.
common trend. I had a few random ones like as a kid, like the lemonade stands.
Right, yeah.
I used to live in Virginia, so my
Yeah.
brother and I and a few other friends, we would go like push the snow.
Yeah.
And so off the driveways, make some money
Right,
that
yeah,
way.
Little side jobs and
Lawn mowing business in high school a little bit, just
Yeah.
random odd jobs.
So you've just been an entrepreneurially kind of
yeah.
It's
mindset. You know?
So it's all from my parents. So my parents, they're entrepreneurs.
Really?
And so they, like, as a kid, it was like, hey,
Instilled.
we want this.
Mhm.
We want this toy. We want this Lego set.
Right.
She's like, okay, you got to go work, make some money. Then you can
Mhm.
afford it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so it really just put that mindset, like, into me at a young
Mhm.
age. It's like, hey, I want this. I need to go provide value to someone,
Right.
get compensated for it, and then I can go get that thing that I want.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So let's go a little bit deeper. I really like that provide value first and then expect results.
Yep.
So what are some of those other like guiding principles that they initially like taught you or instilled in you?
I mean, number one, I would say is coming from a Christian background.
Mhm.
And so why am I pursuing entrepreneurship? So that I can serve God's kingdom to the fullest extent of my being.
Mhm.
And so anything that I'm doing is for his glory and not for the glory of Alex.
Mhm.
And so just that being instilled in you at a young age,
Yeah.
crucial.
Yeah. I agree.
That's a good mindset. I feel like a lot of people, like me included too, is like I get distracted from that, like, oh, this is like for a greater purpose, and then it's like, oh, I just want to do it for like selfish reasons, like I just want money and shit, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, so here's a cool thing. This is something I had to learn. To be a Christian entrepreneur doesn't mean you have to have an explicitly Christian business.
Right.
It just means that you are glorifying God with what
Mhm.
you are doing and what you are serving.
Yeah.
And so Martin Luther, he had a quote, and it was about shoes. He was like, you don't make bad shoes and just put a cross on it and now, oh, it's a Christian shoe.
Right.
You, as a Christian, you just make a good shoe.
Mhm.
And then when they start asking, wait, why does he make good shoes?
Mhm.
Oh, well, it's because, and that opens
Yeah.
the door for you to share your faith.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think those guiding principles, when you're able to put them into actions, and when you're able to turn that conceptual idea into something that legitimately makes a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my guiding principles. I'm in this to make a difference, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that. So what about balancing kind of like the new things that you learn as an entrepreneur? You mentioned the management side of it. What about like learning about the logistics side and learning about the management and all of that, finances? What are kind of those things that are kind of going through your mind right now about that? Just those initial lessons that you had to learn about the tools of an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be able to do a little bit of everything.
Yes.
Especially
wear all the hats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to wear all the hats.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to humble yourself in that. It's like
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong if I have to go do a moving job.
Right.
It's like
Yeah,
I am not
right.
above that by any
Yeah.
means.
Mhm.
But I also have the responsibility as the leader of the business to make sure the finances are doing okay,
Mhm.
to make sure we are profitable, to
Mhm.
make sure that we can provide this service.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's not about me, you know, and that's the
Mhm.
mindset you just have to take for all of that.
Yeah.
I liked what you said. I thought you were going to ask him this when you talked about balance. What is the balance kind of, because you're a student, right? What year are you in?
So I am in my first semester of my senior year. I'll graduate in December.
Awesome. Oh, so you kind of like went a little quicker.
I'm doing Samford in 3.5 years.
Okay. Did you do like summer, like some summer
I
classes?
did a couple, but I've just taken 18 or 19 credits like
Dang,
every
man.
single semester, basically.
Okay,
Incredible.
so that's what I'm asking, right? So
Yeah.
how is doing 18 credits in a semester and also building a successful business? How do you manage time management, man? Like,
Okay.
do you have time to like go out and like hang out with people?
Okay. This is where it gets crazy.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of that my whole college career. This semester, because I'm building DormVault, all-time high in how busy I have been.
Mm-hmm.
I am up at 5:30 every morning, except weekends. I'm probably up at like 7:30, sleep in a little bit. But Monday to Friday, 5:30 every morning. I go to the gym with my best friend, and we do devotion sometimes together in the morning, but then we go to class at 8 because I either have class at 8 or 9, depending on the day. And then I work an accounting internship. I'm working like 35, 40 hours a week because.
Oh, cool. So you're doing that too, man.
Yeah.
Good grief.
And then that's probably done around 6:30, something like that. And then that's throughout the week. And then depending on the night, I might have a church event or I'm building DormVault. And that is my life. That is
crazy, man.
Sun up before the sun's up until like midnight every single day. What keeps me going in that? Like literally, because there are some days where you're like, oh my goodness, is this worth it?
Right, yeah.
There's a book I read. It's called Grit by Angela Duckworth. She has a definition in there. She says, grit is the combination of passion and perseverance towards a long-term goal.
I like that.
And so I'm, in a sense, persevering through the things in the day because of my passion for DormVault.
Right.
I am not satisfied with like just doing school and just doing accounting. Like I feel like the Lord has called me to do more with my life for that. And so it's having the grit to push through in those things because of my passion for DormVault.
Right.
That's it.
That's awesome, man.
I love that. I think there's a big piece of that where you and I are similar in this, that we don't feel like we have to, we sort of have a need to feel like we accomplished something big that day, you know? And having a busy schedule is the first thing towards that. And I think a lot of times entrepreneurs, they think that there is this balance, but it really is. Entrepreneurship is about giving so much towards your goals and your dreams that it doesn't matter what the uncomfortable pieces of right now are. It doesn't matter how many meetings I have today. I got to get through it, you know?
And I agree with that.
As long as I'm able to do it well.
with what you're saying, with what y'all are saying. I feel like it does come to a point, kind of the opportunity cost, right? And you kind of mentioned, is this worth it, right? So I always like look into the opportunity cost of everything. And I'm like, I'm spending X amount of time doing this, and when my opportunity cost could be better spent over here. Like what am I losing by doing this? So I'm constantly being like, well, how do I be the most productive, you know? So I'm thinking like, even in the stuff we do, like I tell Dylan sometimes, I'm like, man, if we continue doing this, then like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to continue, but just because the opportunity cost is like what we're doing could be taking away from us doing something way more spectacular. So it's like, are you willing to risk that opportunity cost? And I think with where that plays in with you is like, if you see DormVault being like, you're gonna go and be the owner and it's gonna be a successful businessman, why are you doing an accounting internship? And I know what you're saying with being like, okay, I'm gonna have, safety net, I'm gonna continue to learn, it's good for, like, my parents want me to do it. Like, I've heard all these things from other people that are kind of in your shoes, and like, is that opportunity cost pulling you away from building DormVault as quick and as good as it can be?
Well, I wouldn't say that's the reason why I do it. I have to pay for my own school bill, and so it's working to.
So you are getting paid in the internship.
Oh,
okay.
Paid. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, that makes sense.
We get paid.
I hear you.
Don't worry about that.
And I'm sure that helps. I'm sure that helps kind of funnel some money in the back door of DormVault.
Oh yeah. And so it's also required for school. And so I'm an accounting major, and so you have to have an accounting internship.
Okay.
And so it's kind of all of those things. It's like there are a few decisions that I can make that I'm actually choosing, but some of them are just laid out for me, and I just need to go do them. I'm going to school. It's something I'm choosing to do. I've made it this far. I need to finish. Yeah. And this is a requirement to finish. But then I also have to pay the school bill. And so that's all right there.
I hear you.
But like a lot of people are just going to say, oh, that's my life. I don't have the ability to go build something else.
Right.
I'm not going to settle for that.
Yeah. I like that. There's a bunch of quotes that are going through my mind right now. There's the one about mediocrity, where it's like, I can't remember it right now. But I mean, there's so many pieces of this that have been like represented and like spoken in different ways.
Well, we haven't really touched on this, but it's the choosing the balance of work versus fun.
Yeah.
Alex Ramosi, he says things on that, but he goes something like, you live your life in your 20s and then you have to work in your 30s,
Right.
or you can work in your 20s and you live your life in the 30s.
Yeah.
It's that mindset. It's like, it's the opportunity cost.
Yeah.
What are the benefits? What are the side effects that I'm not even thinking of?
Right.
That I don't even know that are being played into this decision that I'm making.
Yeah. And one thing, like personally, at least this is one thing that I've learned about myself, is that I'm very much in that mindset of closer to you, where it's like, I got to be moving, I got to be going. You know this about me. And
yeah, we try to corral Dylan sometimes. Like,
yeah, because I'll be going way
bud.
too fast. You know, I'll be going too fast for my own good, and I have to be reminded to come back to center, recognize what we actually
love
can
it
do.
too.
And but one of those things is going back to kind of that balance conversation. This gets me excited.
Yeah.
Because this was one of those like pieces we were talking about this that I really learned about myself. I mean, I was having such a hard time staying in school because of the business, because of everything else that I'm doing. And the way that I'm able to be confident and comfortable in my busy schedule, where I don't feel like I'm giving up here so that I can proceed here. And that, again, going back to that opportunity cost mindset, instead, I'm like the concept or the analogy that I like to use is what I was feeling before was that I had two different eras. There was the student and there was the entrepreneur, and they were both going fast, but in different directions. And now, exactly, I have to bring them together and say, how can I let this opportunity fuel the next thing that I do? How can I get up in the morning, eat my breakfast, and be fueled about going to class?
Because that you kind of merged the eras, and I know
100%.
You've merged the eras.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the only way I really can do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
The hard thing is the internship, because that is pretty secluded.
Yeah.
But like DormVault and school, those are basically in one now.
Yeah.
And my business partner, he's a Samford student.
Right.
And so like we'll see each other like in the hallways.
Yeah.
And so it's like we can connect that way too.
Exactly.
But
yeah, same thing here.
So I want to kind of go back to like the start of this whole venture. What was it like kind of pitching this business model to like your first customer? Like, how'd you get your first customer? Like, what was that like?
That I think that's just the grit and just rolling your sleeves up, going and doing something. Not even just like worrying about, oh man, what's gonna happen? What are all the downfalls?
Right.
You just go do. And
did
so
you have like a website or like
had a
where did you
website.
have?
We had a website. It was not that good.
Yeah.
But it was able to process payments, which was huge. That's all we needed.
Yeah.
But it was flyers. We would go just take flyers, put them around campus,
Really?
word of mouth.
Okay.
We didn't even ask the university. It's better to ask for forgiveness. That's what I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But we didn't even ask the university. We were just like, what are they going to do? Kick us off? No.
Right.
And so my younger brother and I, he's a sophomore at Samford as well.
Really?
And so him
Your
and
younger
I,
brother?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So him and I, we were just out there trying to sell people. Hey, you need help? We got you.
Yeah.
So you saw results from the flyers and
Yeah. A lot of it was word of mouth too. I think we had like
referrals and that type of thing.
I think we had like maybe 25 customers.
Wow, man.
It's only a 2-day window.
How'd you do that? How'd you manage 25 people?
Me and my buddies. It's like, hey guys, I'll pay you $15 an hour, and they loved it. They're like, yeah, I can make some cash. They made a few $100. So like that's another part of the business model. Maybe on the logistics is like, so how are we going to staff? Well, we're trying to only do college students because we want people to be like, oh, we're supporting young entrepreneurs, but also people just wanting to work hard.
Yeah.
And so in that, it's really cool because they get the opportunity to make a little bit of quick cash in their pocket, work 3 or 4 days right before they go home.
Right.
Maybe they can make $500, you know?
Yeah.
So with like 25 customers, man, like what was the logistics? Like what was the process? Like what was all the like
Teams of 2.
details?
Yeah, teams of 2. So
Teams of 2. Each had a truck.
no, I mean, so
Or they just pack? Like
this was literally just moving packages. You show up on campus, we move your things from your car into your room.
oh, okay.
And so that's
I see,
literally all
okay.
it was. Because
Okay.
So
I
it
came
didn't
up
start out.
It didn't start
all
out
this at
storage.
first.
That's
Okay.
I knew it's what I wanted to get to,
I
but it's
see.
like, hey, let's just make some money because we've passed the storage window because of the entrepreneurship program I was at. And so I showed up in August and we started doing this. And that's part of entrepreneurship. It's just like, I don't know what I need. And so
Right.
I'm going to think, okay, I need these 4 or 5 things and then go from there.
Yeah.
And so that info, like name, what do you have? Where are you going? What time? And so it was just like, that's the logistics of it.
Yeah.
But it's just moving. It's nothing too crazy, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everything sounds like it's gone pretty smooth. So, I mean, you haven't had any like fallouts or any like somebody dropped something or, you know?
It did not get dropped because DormVault, we take very good care
Of
of
course.
our customers.
Of course.
But there are these dressers, and they are the devil. These dressers are.
You got to go upstairs in a corner.
You gotta do all that.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, this dresser is literally to house a mini fridge.
What?
That's the purpose of it.
Like an armoire type?
It's just like double door open, and it's literally to house the mini fridge. I kid you
And
not.
a student had this?
Students.
Students.
Just basically any sorority girl has them. And
Oh,
they go in between the
no.
twin beds.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Literally probably 300 pounds, 350 pounds.
Jeez.
It's so heavy. And then some of them, they give us the joy of putting a granite like top on top of that. This thing's at like 450.
Golly.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Me and my best friend, we're moving the first one. And we're like, we got this. We're going upstairs. That thing literally slides out of our hands and hits our knees and then lands on our feet. It was crazy. Thankfully, it did not damage the customer's thing at all.
Yeah.
But that's when we realized, okay, we probably need 4 guys on this for one.
Yeah.
That's the logistics side of it.
Mhm.
But then also, what are ways that we could try to avoid taking the stairs with this?
Yes.
Right,
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
Wow. So did you like do you bring ramps or anything like that where it's like those little corrections, you know?
Yeah, we're looking into getting into things like that. We're
Yeah.
also getting there's straps that go
Oh, I've
over
seen
and then help
those.
hold.
Yeah, they go under and it's attached to. Okay,
You know, there's
yeah.
moving belts where
Right.
2 guys wear them, and it's like,
Right.
Um,
And so when you're in the gritty startup, it's like, I'm not paying for that.
Yeah.
But now that I think we're getting some cash coming in and all
Yeah.
that, it's like,
It's
hey,
worth
we can
not-
afford this.
Right.
yeah, I don't want to
I
have
love
back
it.
problems when I'm
Yeah,
older.
exactly. And speaking of that, cash flowing and moving on, y'all are past this startup phase. I mean, from
In a sense.
from the sense that you're able to deliver your product, you're not in a conceptual phase.
Correct. Yes.
So let me ask, from here, how long have you worked on it?
Since last summer.
Okay, so
Yeah.
about a year and some change, or
Less than a year. Yeah.
Wow.
It's July of last
Oh,
year.
like
Okay.
2024 summer.
2024, yeah.
Oh,
Gotcha,
word,
gotcha.
man.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
incredible.
So 7-8 months.
Wow.
You've done a lot in that
Yeah.
little time, it seems like, man. That's awesome.
So-
Just trying to make it happen.
I hear you, bro.
By the time y'all are 1 year old, what is your number one goal?
$100,000 in revenue.
Amazing. 5 years.
If we are still in it, I haven't determined that. My kind of 5-year goal has been $1 million valuation of the company,
Mm-hmm.
depending if I continue to grow that or if we sell. I don't
Right.
know.
Okay,
Because that's so far down the road.
I want to hear about. I know we talked about your partnership.
Yes.
Right. So how did this? What is all of this? How did it come about?
So we did well with the moving.
Yes,
It wasn't
clearly.
crazy, but we did well.
Yeah.
And through that collegiate bedloft company, it was like a week after I get this email. It's like, hey, we want to meet, basically. And so
They just heard about you.
they just heard. I guess it was word of mouth. I don't know.
Somebody you moved knew somebody, and
Maybe,
they're like, "Hey,
yeah.
check us out, man."
And so we meet, and basically we were like, hey, let's figure out ways. Because when you're going into that, I've never, 1, owned a company before, but 2, been asked to partner that early on. And so I was pretty defensive, mentally going into that. What am I going to share,
Mhm.
And because this guy, he could be a competitor.
Right.
Like when you're standing face to face with someone, you don't know what they're about to say.
Yeah.
So this ended up being like a 5-month negotiation. Like it was a long process.
And some
Yeah.
people do not have those Christian values, man. Some people,
Thankfully,
they're like,
yeah.
"Oh,
Thankfully, the guys I was with, they do.
okay,
Yeah,
good." Because some
super
people, they'll see a
encouraging.
young guy try to take advantage of you, man.
Yeah, no. Because that was the thing. If I'm being honest, they have a much more successful company right now,
Mm-hmm.
and they have had the opportunity to be like, hey,
Buy
we're
you.
pushing you out of the market.
Right.
We have the competitive advantage because we've been here for 10, 15 years,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
We can just bully you.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they literally could have done that.
Mhm.
And so that stood to their character for me because it was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they could have pushed me out. But now they're like, hey, let's work together
Yeah.
and try and make this work for both of us.
Yeah.
So that was super encourage.
I love
That's
that.
sick. So what did kind of the conversation and partnership look like? Like, what is, so it's like, okay, they have a storage facility, people that
they had
don't,
that. They had the university connections too. So they're on 7 campuses.
That's where I was going to get to. That's where I was going to get to.
Mm-hmm.
So with the future projecting, man, is this going to be like a franchise type of deal, or what do you see?
Not franchise, probably dealership model in that sense.
So how does the dealership model change from like a franchise? I'm not really familiar.
Yeah. So I mean, a dealership is more. So they're probably going to get like 20% of the profit. We're still going to get the vast majority, but they're basically think similar to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A says they're a franchise,
right? But Chick-fil-A is like regulations. Like I can't go and own McDonald's and then buy a Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A is like, oh, buddy, if you're getting in with us, you have to be 100%.
I would make the argument that Chick-fil-A is closer to a dealership than they are a franchise.
I see, yeah, 100%. Because it's like, dude, the waiting list to franchise or buy a Chick-fil-A.
Well, there's that. But then they make you like be an employee for so long before that.
Yeah. It's like you got to work. You sweep the floors before you can own the thing, man.
But anyways, getting down that, I think DormVault, we're likely going to have just our main company, like kind of HQ in a sense. Yeah. And then probably sub LLCs at these other schools, and that helps like legally,
but hold
and
ownership
of it.
Okay, exactly. And then maybe just put in like find a rep at like each school and have them.
Ideally, so the program I went through, entrepreneurship, up in Ohio, and Atlas is what it's called. Ideally, I would like someone who has done their freshman year at college. They go to Atlas in between freshman and sophomore year, and then in their sophomore year, they get the opportunity to become a part equity owner of that dealership model. Wow. And they run the company sophomore, junior, senior year.
That's
so they get to practice
pipeline.
Oh, that's what I'm trying to set up. And so Justin and I, we were talking about that, trying to get something similar to that set up.
That's amazing. I love that. So what is like the next move for you? Like the next immediate things?
So right now is doing well with what we have. So year 1, understanding we can't do 10 schools yet.
Yeah.
But year 1 is doing well at the first 2 or 3 schools that we're going to do. And then over the summer, it's going to be pitching other universities.
Yeah.
Hey, we did this in our year 1. Imagine what we could do for you and your student body following.
Yeah. I love
that.
But
the way to go is the university partnerships.
Yes.
That is the way to go.
100%. Totally agree. I love this.
So I know we talked a lot about everything, and I always like to kind of like wrap things up with this question is, what is like, pretend we're on Instagram Reels right now and you're like on somebody's phone. What would you want to tell them or have the opportunity to tell them that, you know, if they're trying to start their own business or be successful like you, man?
That's a good question. I would say it's about the people you surround yourself with. So the 5 people in your life that are speaking into your life, how they spend their free time, how they want to grow businesses, where they see their life going. It's like, are they pushing themselves in the same way as you, other areas? And it's all of these things. And do I want to be with this person in 10 years? And there is nothing wrong with that answer being a no. You have to be confident and bold enough. And so anyone having that question, read the book. It's called Necessary Endings by Dr. Henry Cloud. Could not recommend more. Awesome. And it's like how to prune relationships in your life. Yeah. And so it's so good. But like literally it's a scary thing. I'm only 21 right now. And so I haven't seen too much of life. I've seen a little, but not too much. And I can just tell you, it matters who you hang out with.
Absolutely.
It's that opportunity cost. They have side effects. And it's like, side effects
they can pull you down or lift you up, you know?
But then there's some side effects that you don't even know, you know?
Yeah, like, I mean, you could, like, what do you mean by that? Like,
so going down the road with someone who is going to like go out every single Friday, Saturday night. Yes, they might be having a good time, but think of the person, instead of going out every Friday, Saturday night, they are building their business and they are growing in knowledge. And you will see those paths split, like the opposite of what we were saying before, in a good way. This person is going to go in a good way, and this person is going to go not as a stellar way. And so it's hard in the moment to see that big picture scheme, but it matters.
Because you're like, oh, and that is a legitimately, all that wrapped into it is, it's called it's like gratitude. No, it's
delayed gratification.
Gratification.
Yes.
It's instant gratification versus delayed gratification. It's like people, I want to go to the club and party every weekend. Instant gratification. Oh, I want to go and work my business till midnight every Friday, Saturday. And then when I'm in my 30s, I can go to the clubs wherever in my nice car if I wanted to. Right. You know what I mean?
And it just matters what's important to you in life.
Exactly.
Like for me, it's like I want to be able to be financially free, but also helping
and give back,
helping my church in that way.
Yeah.
And so like my Friday and Saturday nights want to be able when I'm 30 with my family one day.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not a club guy. I'll just be honest. That's not my scene. But it's like I want to do so well now, say no to things now, so that down the road I can say yes to that family.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
And you're not like having to work overtime hours to feed your kids.
Because something will give. Something will give. It will be the quality of the relationship, or this is what Justin was speaking about a little bit. I wish you got to hear it.
Yeah.
But he's like, it will be your family. Not family. It'll be the business. And so like you will choose your family in that way. And then the business is going to be sacrificed because you didn't start early, because all of these things.
That's a good point.
It is
I
very
definitely
good.
agree.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, this has been a fantastic conversation, brother. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course, bro. We got book references. We got quotes to use. We got
you're
all
on
of it.
You're on your camera.
You're dropping gems.
I appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, thank you again, and thank you guys for catching us on this episode of What's Next Birmingham.
Yes, sir. We'll have all his stuff linked, and I'm sure you have a website and Instagram and everything.
Yeah.
So we'll put all that down below, and we'll be posting, so y'all make sure to check him out.
Yeah, we just revamped our website, so we're at University of Alabama right now. We're at Samford, and hopefully going to be at a few other schools down the road. Right. Check out the website if you need any moving help. Thank you, guys.
Yes,
sir.
Killing
DormVault.com.
DormVaultStorage.com.
DormVaultStorage.com. And also shout out to the Redmont Hotel here in Birmingham for letting us have this awesome venue space.
Beautiful.
They're great working with us.
Yeah.
So,
and shout out Ryan for shooting the behind the scenes. Appreciate you. Yep. But thank you guys again, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
See y'all.